I am deeply honored and privileged to introduce this year's James A. Joseph Lecture honoree in the person of Carol Goss. I represent a number of organizations that share pride in her selection by APFI, organizations like the Council of Michigan Foundations, the Forum for African American Philanthropy in Michigan, and the Association of Black Social Workers, all of whom care deeply about Carol. I've known Carol myself for over 3 decades, and on 2 occasions we worked for the same employer, and of course we have volunteered for numerous other tasks. I remember well the years when Carol and her husband Tom and their family traveled all over America as Tom climbed the economic and business ladder. They went to the Deep South and the East Coast and back to the Midwest and then the West and back to the Midwest again. And the last time they moved to the West Coast, many of us thought we had lost Carol for good, but in fact, they moved back again, and we were glad she was back home again. In retrospect, I thought of those moves and I said to myself that those were probably times when Carol was either consciously or unconsciously framing her thoughts about life and about the world, the kind of thoughts I think that the exposure to new experiences can give you, and I think she's probably done just that. Let me speak just a little bit about her biographical information. Prior to coming to the Skillman Foundation in March of 1998 as a senior program officer, her philanthropic experience included work as program officer at the Stewart Foundation in San Francisco and program director at the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. Her philanthropic experience spanned some 18 years. And armed also with a master's degree in social work from the University of Michigan, her professional career also includes 20 years experience in the human services field as a social worker, social work supervisor, and agency administrator, spanning areas of child welfare, family services, and youth development. Now, in addition to the organizations that I cited earlier, Carol is active in a variety of other local and national service, advocacy, and philanthropic organizations, and the list is really too long for me to read tonight, but I do want to share just a few of them, and they would include the Grant Makers for Children, Youth, and Families, Women in Philanthropy, the Detroit Area Grant Makers, Michigan's Children, Michigan AIDS Fund, the Task Force on the Overrepresentation of Minority Children in Foster Care, and the Links. I do want to say that Carol has always been a special person, and those of you who know her know that she's always been special. And I just want to share just one example. Roughly 15 years ago, some 7 or 8 of those of us who were African American program officers at the Kellogg Foundation toured Southern Africa to make a comparison of the life and work that was done there with the life and work we were doing here. And when we got to Johannesburg, we were provided with a van and an excellent tour guide, and we toured health centers and a child care center and a school and a community agency. And whenever we went to those places, 7 of us would always rush back to the van on time, but we would always look for Carol. She would kind of hold us up. Sometimes it would be just a couple minutes, and then maybe 3 or 4. It could be maybe 9 or 10, maybe 12. But she was always kind of holding us up because Carol was looking beyond just the average view. Now, we didn't mind most of the time, except when we got to the last site visit. It was in Soweto. And we had been told earlier that while Soweto is very beautiful in the daytime, it could be very dangerous for visitors in the nighttime. And so we were visiting a school at that time, and we all went to our various sites within the school, and we got the nod that it was time to go back to the van, and we rushed back to the van. And of course, who should be missing? You guessed it, Carol. She was missing. Except this time, a couple of us rushed in, and we had to talk sternly to Carol this time, like, Carol, it's time to go right now. Let's go. And she came out trotting and laughing, but really that is vintage Carol, always probing for the extra detail. Now, when the search for the top job at the Skillman Foundation began, Carol and I had a very long lunch, and frankly, I had never seen Carol so anguished and uncertain as she was during that time. She wasn't really certain if she wanted to make application for that job, and we talked a long time at that point. And when I left, I truly didn't know if Carol was going to make application for president of the Skillman Foundation. But shortly thereafter, Carol made contact and said she had decided to go forward, and I must tell you, the rest is history. One of the first public statements that she made after becoming president is she wanted to clarify for the community what the goal, the real goal of education was, and it was to ensure that all of our children receive a quality education, whether it was in the Detroit public schools or in charter schools, private schools, parochial schools, or even at home schooling. Now, many of us had thought about saying this, but she was one of the first of prominence to actually stand up and say it. And she took a little heat for it. And that was in 2004, I think. And now people are kind of broadly saying, yeah, it may be just a Detroit public school, but we should open it up to all the other things as well. As a matter of fact, last month, our mayor, Mayor Kilpatrick, who is tremendously articulate, was given his State of the City address. And at a certain point, he began to tell the community about school. And he said that we no longer could just send our kids to the Detroit public school, but they needed to also consider the charter school, the private school, the parochial school, and schools in home. The exact same words. And so when I saw Carol later, I asked Carol, had she given the mayor some of the words to say, and she just chuckled as if maybe she didn't know. And you know, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter whether she gave him the words or not. What the real essence is that Carol, with her incredibly talented staff, have found a logical, down-to-earth way, working on the ground to talk to people in the city of Detroit. And whatever I've said before now isn't important. This is the most important thing. When Carol Goss speaks, people listen. When Carol Goss speaks, people listen. Finally, a long time ago, Carol used to jog like normal people, a mile every 2 or 3 days here and there. But now, of late, Carol has taken to jogging 5 miles, 5, 6 miles every morning, 5 in the morning. She and a gang of people go jogging all throughout Detroit, 5 or 6 miles. Last year, Carol even completed half a marathon. And I began to wonder and question myself, why is she waiting this late in life to become a world-class athlete? And it finally dawned on me that it's not about athleticism. When Carol is running around like that, she's thinking of new ideas and new assignments for all of us. And the thing I am most fearful of is if she ever completes the marathon, we will all be slaves. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Carol Goss.